March the 6th, actually, there was a diagnosis made and actually came out in public that Dad has Alzheimer's.
Hello everyone, for OneWrestling.com, this is Bill Apter and welcome to another edition of the Apter Chat. You know, a lot of times I get emails from you people out there that say, you know what, you don't do enough of whatever happened to. Where are they now? And I agree. It's time for this pro wrestling sports entertainment journalist to track down people you have asked me to track down. And some of them have Skype. Some of them know how to work on a computer. And about 2 or 3 months ago, I got an email from a fan named Mark, who was a big fan in the Jim Crockett territory. And he said, hey Bill, whatever happened to Angelo Mosca Jr.? We thought he had a great career growing, and that's a great career going, not growing, but yeah, it was a growing career. And all of a sudden he disappeared. So again, being the detective I am in the pro wrestling sports entertainment business, Angelo Mosca Jr., we found you. Welcome to the Apter Chat. You did find me, and we're going to explain exactly how that happened. But where are you? Where are you living these days?
I'm back in my hometown of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Well, you look terrific. You know, you really. Some people that we interview here on the Apter Chat look a little beaten and worn from years ago. You definitely do not. So life's treating you well, I assume.
Yeah, very good.
So before we talk about what happened to you, one of the things we have to talk about first is, because it was on TMZ and it was on so many TV networks, is the altercation your father had a few years ago with a former football player that he played against, I believe, and this made national news. So recap us on what happened there and where that is today.
Well, the incident was involving a quarterback for the BC Lions from 1963 Grey Cup. Okay. His name was Joe Cap.
Okay.
And my dad's been involved with the CFL Alumni Players Association, trying to do fundraising for guys. It's called a Down and Out program. Guys that weren't as fortunate, I guess, to save their money and can't deal with their own medical bills.
Yeah, fundraisers.
Yeah. So my dad was at the Grey Cup. It was being held in BC. It was 2010.
By the way, I just want to mention BC fans, not
British
DC,
Columbia.
British Columbia. Okay.
Yeah, and it was in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And so there was a luncheon that my dad was supposed to be speaking at to the group, and they had Joe Cap there as well. And as a matter of fact, they were going to replay the clip from the 1963 Grey Cup from the incident that basically. It says that, if you see it for yourself, you can make your own judgment, draw your own conclusions. But suppose my dad hit the star running back by the name of Willie Fleming and ended up putting him out of the game.
Okay.
It was a very controversial late hit or on the sideline, whatever. Well, Joe Cap, when he was at that event, I guess still held a huge grudge, and for some reason didn't forgive my dad. And because Hamilton went on to win that game.
Yeah.
And at that luncheon, the CFL alumni president, he called my dad up to the stage, and they were going to show that clip to the people that were there in the room to let them decide and have a final say on, did Dad actually hit this fella or didn't he? And Joe Cap was there, and he started pestering Dad and break from the go.
Hold on, we're losing our connection here again.
Dinner. Dad is on side, waving and antagonizing. Oh.
Hold on one sec. We're losing our connect. We're back. So just say that again. He started
He was
Pastor and your
antagonizing
dad.
Dad with the flour from the table. That they were actually sitting together at the same table during lunch,
Yeah.
and not pleasant exchange, I guess, took place there. And then Joe Cap got on stage and was provoking my dad, and then he was poking at him, and my dad just put his hand up, waved, and said, "Joe, stop, get lost."
Yeah.
And he didn't stop. Joe turned around, did something else, and my dad, he walks with a cane now, and he was sitting down. And I always say, thank goodness he couldn't get up fast enough, because he reacted to Joe Cap, and he swung, and his cane ended up hitting, clipping the side of his face, and his glass went flying. Joe Cap turned around, retaliated, and threw a flurry of punches at my dad, and ended up knocking him off the podium down the back. And like I say, thank goodness my dad couldn't get up, because if he had, I think my dad might be behind bars today.
Oh my goodness.
But anyways, that
were you shocked that it made worldwide news?
Well,
not just national news. It was everywhere.
My sister phoned me that morning and said something happened on BC, but luckily nobody had any cameras and it's not on film. Well, guess what? It was.
Yeah, TMZ got it right away.
Yeah, well, it went viral on the internet. And then Dr. Phil picked up the story, and they wanted him to go down to California, and he ended up on the Dr. Phil show.
Yeah.
I mean, both Joe Cap and my dad were invited, because the angle of that particular show was grudges and forgiveness, and Joe Cap declined to go down. But my dad went on, and actually it was a very good program, a good interview.
Yeah, I remember. So where are they? Where are the two of them today in terms of relationship?
There isn't one. My dad holds nothing against Joe, but Joe will not have anything to do with my dad, and wants nothing to do with him. But
it's Joe's loss. So yeah, because
definitely.
as you know, I've known your dad for a long time. You've known him a lot longer, of course. So let's kind of rewind, and let's talk about you, and then we want to go back to talking about your dad. When did you actually retire?
Well, when I left the States, let's see, in about 85, I think toward the end of 85, and I came back up to Hamilton, and I still wrestle a little bit with, I don't know if you know the fellow, the bear man, Dave McKigney.
Yes, sure.
Okay. So I did 2 summers with him, and then after that, I just did the odd match here and there, and then I was already, into a job and a career that I want to get into. So I said it's time to stop.
Now, when you left the States, was that when you were in the Crockett territory around that point?
No, actually, after that, I ended up going to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Of course, Harley Race was supposed to take care of me out there, and that was in the middle of the winter,
Wow.
January, February, and I got out of there in March, because it was long trips, not good money, and cold and nasty driving, and I went, I'm not going to last in this business at all. So after I left there, I went back down to Florida, to Tampa, and who was booking then? I think it was Dutch was booking then, and
I believe so.
Yeah, and I wasn't doing that well then, compared to, how I'd been doing in the business when I was in Charlotte, and originally when I broke in Tampa, in the Florida territory with Eddie Graham as the,
So things just weren't, just wasn't working out.
No, they were kind of using me as the kind of middle card guy, and Dutch had his own group of guys who he wanted to push, and I wasn't one of them. So, when you're that middle guy, and you do okay, but I went into the business originally with kind of a 5-year plan. I said, because I realized how tough a business it is. Physically, mentally, emotionally, social, everything. And I said, this is a great opportunity for me as a young guy to make some money, put it away, and then move on to something else that maybe I want to try doing. But it didn't work that way.
Do you still follow it today?
No, not really.
Okay.
Once I came back up here, I really lost touch with the guys. Didn't stay in touch with the guys at all. And I didn't bother to really watch what was going on TV and the transition to what it's become today. I don't watch it at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still doing the same thing I've been doing for almost 29 years.
Wow.
I which I love it. I love doing it, and I mean that's why I've been doing it for so long.
And
And
what is that?
I'm working at a custody facility for youth, and I'm the program coordinator there. And of course, my job's transition changed over the years significantly. But I run and set up a lot of different cognitive programs or different
What type of youth?
therapeutic programs.
What are we talking about?
Victim awareness, anger management, um, substance abuse prevention programs, setting up for different treatment
So
things.
these are youth that have been they're ex-offenders
Or no, they are offenders. They've broken
okay,
the law and they're with us either in
okay,
custody or waiting trial in court.
interesting. Okay,
So yeah, and their age is 12 up to 18, but primarily they're usually about mean age of our guys is probably about 16, 17.
okay.
So it's
It must be a very tough situation that you're in, but very gratifying to know that you're helping change people's lives in a positive way.
yeah, very much. I mean that, and that's what keeps you going. Even if it's one particular youth that you know you made that maybe difference, but
Yeah,
today it's far more complex. The youth we're seeing aren't the same as they were 15 or even 10 years ago, where they're far more violent and far more mental health issues, and it's far more complex in terms of the youth we're dealing with, and a lot more serious
sure,
charges,
sure,
unfortunately. It's,
sure. Well, we're glad you're involved in something like that. As I mentioned, trying to change people's lives. Talking about changing people's lives and changes of life. Your dad has been diagnosed with. Well, why don't you tell
yeah,
people now?
well, and we always knew the last year or so we've seen a difference in him in terms of his cognitive ability. He March the 6th, actually, there's a diagnosis made and actually came out in public that Dad has Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And they're saying it's in early stages. But that was March, and even from excuse me, from March to now, you've seen, I think, quite a change cognitively in him. I mean, his short-term memory certainly isn't as good as even it was back in March, but his long-term memory and talking about stories and that, and if you key him in certain areas, he's good with those. So,
Yeah, I was nicely surprised when we the way we connected. We at the beginning I said that I tracked you down, but
yeah,
there's an event happening that your family reached out to me, and I was so glad to hear from you. But when you mentioned to your dad that I sent my regards, you said, and I haven't seen him in ages,
yeah,
since 2010,
yeah.
actually. You said to me he remembered me right away.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I said, yeah. Well, I told him I'd been talking to Bill, and he goes, oh. I said, Bill after. He goes, oh yeah, Bill. How is he
That's
doing?
great.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
So, diagnosed with early Alzheimer's. So, what do we do? What do you do now moving forward?
Yeah. The night it was announced and it went out in the media, um, Bill Kelly, the local actually radio personality, put out a lovely press release talking about my dad, how he's become such a prominent figure, not just in the Hamilton in terms of football and wrestling, but more so football in terms of an ambassador, and he's done a tremendous amount of charity work in the community and abroad in Canada, and has always attached his name to all kinds of fundraising efforts.
Yeah, yeah.
So Bill Kelly said, now it's time to pay Ange back. And that got me going all night long, and I phoned my sister first thing the next morning, and I said, we need to do something for Dad to, pay back and give recognition to him, all the things he's done over the years. And so that.
And while his mind is still accepting things like this that he can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my sister and I set out to start planning the event, and we didn't think it'd grow to the extent that it is now. And we involved some key people that have really helped us develop this thing. And we're calling the event, it's going to be called Still Mosca.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's a
great.
takeoff from the movie Still Alice. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yes, I am. And you people who aren't, go to Google after you watch this.
Yeah, yeah.
Read
So,
up on it.
and it's about a woman with early onset Alzheimer's, and we thought, it's a catchy name, it's a good name, it's a fitting name. Um, and what the events turned into, because originally my sister and I said we just want to have a fun evening, family and friends get together, with maybe an educational element about what Alzheimer's is, inviting the Alzheimer's Society of Canada, and if we happen to raise some extra funds, maybe the leftover or the extra funds will go to a charity, and it'll go to Alzheimer's Society of Canada
That's great.
and to the CFL Players Alumni Association.
That's great.
Well, and that's what is happening, but it's become even larger that now we've developed a Mosca fund that will be, I guess, a legacy thing, that definitely any of the funds raised from this event will be going to those two charities.
Fantastic.
This has grown much larger than I ever imagined.
It's becoming another Mosca monster.
Yeah.
Right? Like King Kong Mosca.
So we thought, when do we involve Dad in all of this? Because, I mean, this is for him, and we want to make sure we get his approval.
Yeah.
So we had a big dinner here, and it was actually Easter, and I put together a little thing, and we talked to him, and he got really emotional. He goes, "Whatever you kids want to do would be wonderful."
That's great. That's great.
And so he said, "Whatever you want to," and we've done a lot.
So tell us where and when this will all take place.
On August the 26th,
2015. Yeah.
it's going to be in Hamilton, here in Hamilton, at Carmen's Banquet Center, and the event's called Still Mosca. And the evening is going to go from like 6 to 9 p.m., and it's going to be actually a very interesting, open, fun evening where it's a casual evening, because Dad would not want suit and tie
Absolutely.
and a sit-down dinner thing. So we actually have a wrestling ring as our center stage in this big banquet center.
That's great.
And we have an MC's a comedian, a local comedian, and we've got two large video screens at each end that are outlined by goalposts to bring in the football piece. And then there's 6 different video segments we're doing, and that's one of the pieces is his wrestling life. And that's why I was trying to reach out to guys, and that's how I ended up reaching to you.
Thank you.
To contact guys around out there in the wrestling world to either get them out to the event or get a clip of a video of them telling and sharing some good old stories or anecdotes about Dad during his wrestling days. So that's all happening August 26th. Now, the other thing is we're involved with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, which is the team Dad played for almost 15 years.
Right.
And they've really come on board. And there was an announcement that came out actually on Tuesday. They are going to be retiring his number.
Wow.
And there's a football game on the 27th following our event, and they're going to be honoring him at halftime and actually retiring his number, which is, for this team, it is only the second number they have ever retired in the history of the team, which is over 136 years of the history of the team. So it's a very big significant thing. So people can get actually package deals if they want to attend the Mosca event and the game the next night.
So where can they find this online?
If they go on Carmen's Banquet Center on the web, and
CARMEN.
CARMENS Banquet Center.
Right.
Yeah, they can actually purchase tickets online. If you click onto the events, you'll see Still Mosca, and they've got the breakdown of all the packages.
Being an editor, is there an apostrophe between the N and S in Carmen's?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So check that out. And what we'd like to do is hopefully a week or two after this event, bring you back with some photos that you can send us, and we'll talk about the wonderful night that this certainly was. So your dad was and always will be King Kong Mosca, but he's got the heart of a teddy bear. I always say one of the nicest people I ever met.
Well, one of the other tags he's got is Big Nasty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We want to thank you so much for catching us up on everything. I'm so glad that you reached out and found us here down at Aptors Alley. And you fans can see again where to go to get tickets, or just find out everything that's going on. We'll keep you posted here on the Apter Chat.
Good, Bill. And hopefully I can see you up here.
That would be great. I would love to do
awesome.
that. I would love to do that.
Let me know if you can so I get tickets set aside for you.
I would love to do that. So what we do at the end of every Apter Chat, we have you point to the video camera, if you wouldn't mind, if you can find it there, and we'll say we'll see you at the matches. Bill